Hey guys, here with Ben Wolgamot, hitting coach at Western Kentucky University, and he also works with infielders. And had the pleasure of knowing Ben a long time, even back from the days when I guess you were probably just first starting out, weren't you?
Yeah, Wabash College, Eastern Illinois.
Yeah. So if you would give us an overview of your playing and coaching career.
Okay. Well, first off, we appreciate you letting me hop on with you and talk baseball. It's a weird time where my wife and 4-year-old daughter they don't really want to watch 1996 Major League Baseball playoff game. So it's good to get some baseball back in my life.
I
But
hear you, man.
I'm from Danville, Illinois. I was lucky enough to go to Danville Community College there in my hometown. And then I moved on, was fortunate enough to play for Doug Schreiber at Purdue University for 2 years. Got my degree there. And like most, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And so went back to my junior college, Coach Bunton. He let me volunteer on his staff for that year to try to help me figure out what route I wanted to take. And I decided coaching was something I thought would be a good thing for me. So I was fortunate enough to hop on at Wabash College, the Division III for Corey Stevens. Spent 1 year at the Division III level. Was extremely eye-opening for me because I had never seen the Division III level, and we were pretty good. We had good players on that club, and some guys that you look back and some of the better guys that I had a chance to coach, especially on the offensive side of the ball, that we had a couple kids who ended up grad transferring on to Division I's, and I think we had the Conference Player of the Year that year, who the kid could hit, and he could hit anywhere, not just at Wabash College. So I spent
Wabash is an interesting situation too, where it's all boy and a lot of tradition, highly academic. So
yeah, it's extremely unique situation. I think at the time there was 2, maybe 3 all-male colleges. And so it was definitely different. 900 students, small school coming from Purdue, 40,000. So definitely a different environment, atmosphere, but it was really, really good and a great experience that I had as one of my first jobs. And then from there, I was able to go on to Eastern Illinois under Jimmy Schmitz. I was a volunteer there, took a volunteer job. And I think that's where you were at, Moorhead at the time, right?
Yeah. I was. I think that was my last year at Moorhead. May have been your first year at Eastern Illinois, or I just left and took a high school job. It was all around that same time. So
yeah. So I spent 2 years there. The first year I was the volunteer. And the second year I was able to hop up into a little bit more of a recruiting position. And, Coach Schmitz, I mean, I couldn't, for my first job at the Division I level, I couldn't ask for a better guy to work for that early, because you know how it is. When you get done playing, when you get done with college, you think you know everything about the game of baseball or about life. I'm sure my parents thought that too. And so he let me know real quick that I didn't know as much as I thought, and it helped me grow as a coach. And I did things that as a 23-year-old, I thought I was above, whether it was, dragging the field or picking dandelions or whatever it may be. But, I was not. And it helped me grow and understand that there's a lot more of that goes into college baseball rather than just the hitting a fungo, throwing BP and, all that stuff from the baseball side of it.
Dropping knowledge bombs on everybody, smartest guy in the room. Like, I get you. I was there.
No doubt. And so spent 2 years there, and then spent 5 years at Valparaiso University with Brian Schmack. So that was, again, another – I've been fortunate. I've been in really good situations. Coach Schmack, he did the pitching, and so he allowed me for 4 of my 5 years to run the offense and be in charge of basically an offensive coordinator. And so that helped me grow in a sense where I kind of got to learn by mistake, and, what I liked, what I didn't like. And he obviously helped me out through those times, but I got to learn by being thrown in the fire with running an offense and doing those things. And then now just finished up year 2 at Western Kentucky under Coach Pulowski, and same a situation here. Coach P, he runs the pitching side. And so he's given me full reign of running the offense. And, it's been good. I think it's a lot easier to put what you want in and feel like you're being a good coach, whether you are or not. But when those guys to coach and give you those opportunities to teach kids, and they're not, over your shoulder and that type of stuff. So I've been very, very fortunate.
Yeah, man, you've worked for some really great guys. Coach Bunton be like a Midwest OG, and Schmack and Jimmy Schmitz, and it was.
And they all bring something different to the table, which is good. I haven't worked for the same type of personality, the same type of guy, and really any of my stops. And I've been so lucky to see different sides and how people do things differently, and hopefully that will help me down the road if I'm ever lucky enough to be a head coach or something along those lines. Yeah,
for sure. So you spent a lot of time on the road, man. So I really, that's where we got to know each other pretty well, was sweating it out and whatever field or complex we were at for all those years. So from a recruiting standpoint, what is something that you value both from a tangible standpoint, intangible standpoint, and I think it's important that these guys understand that, just because you want to go to a school doesn't mean that's where you're going to end up. So
right.
You could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think for, physical qualities, when it comes to going out and watching a game and trying to find the guy who, I guess, fits what you want to do in your program, fits what you want as a player on the offensive side of the ball or on the pitching side, what you want your pitchers to look like, size, shape, how they command the baseball. Or for us on the offensive side, the biggest thing that we talk about is, do they swing and miss in the strike zone? That's something that's big for us as we go watch a game. If a kid is swinging and missing at fastballs in the strike zone, that's really tough to develop and tough to teach. Is the hand-eye coordination. So that's where right away, that's what we look for. A lot of good hitters will get themselves out by swinging at a pitch, maybe out of the zone, but they make contact with it because their hand-eye coordination's so good, and they look back like, man, I wish I just could have swung and missed at that so I could get to the next pitch and get a better pitch to hit because I made a mistake to swing at that ball. So
right,
we're looking for that when it comes to the hitting side of it. You always look for athleticism and things that you can't necessarily teach, but also go with things that you can teach. With whether it's defensive pitching or hitting. So those are very important to us when it comes to what we look for in ability. And there's other things that go into it, but those are the main pieces. The biggest thing for us is we want guys who just really compete at a high level. They're willing to buy into whatever it is that the coaching staff is putting out there. I think that's the biggest misconception, is we want all these guys to look pretty and we want a great swing and we want all the physical tools in the world, where it just doesn't always work out like that. In our lineup, we may have 1-2 guys drafted a year, if we're lucky. So we're getting a lot of good college baseball players. So they have to be able to compete at a high level, buy into what our plan is, what our approach is at the plate. And when we have 9 guys who do that, that's when teams, I think, have the most success, because they're all bought into a specific plan, a specific approach, rather than just trying to let their talent and those play out. Because we've seen plenty of guys who have a lot of talent, but they don't buy into a plan, and they get themselves out because they swing at bad pitches, or, they're not locked into what situation it is, runner on second, nobody out. And they're up there being selfish and trying to pull a ball in the 6-hole to maybe get a hit, rather than, hey, just get that guy to third and let your teammate behind you drive him in.
Right. So talking, I guess talking on that part a little bit, like, what are you guys doing from a fall plan, annual plan, 8-hour week plan, offensively and defensively for development?
So we script our year out. It starts in the fall, guys get in, and we usually do about a week, maybe 2 weeks. At least these are the 2 years since I've been at Western, 2 weeks to a week of individual work, kind of just seeing the guys, how they move, how guys develop maybe over summer ball, what they look like if they spent time in the weight room on campus with our strength coach, or just new guys, kind of letting them, just seeing them. And so we'll do that for a week or two, and then we hop into our fall practice. And, I can really only speak on what we do on the position player side, because that's where my mind goes. On
Right.
The pitching, a little bit different. But for us, it's scripted out where in the fall, we just let guys play and we let them practice. The last thing we want is to have a kid get on campus and day one, we change everything that he does. I think that breaks trust in what we're trying to do. The kid starts to think, why did you recruit me if all you're doing is changing everything that I'm doing? So
Right.
we put a plan in place. We have, our pillars of what we want and what we want our player to look like from a culture standpoint of how we act, how we carry ourselves, to what our quality at bats are. But the biggest thing that we emphasize over the fall is not necessarily a mechanical thing. It's just, can you do it or not? We want to be able to attack the fastball on the outer third of the plate, and we have to be able to situational hit. And a lot of the situational hitting is just knowledge of what I'm supposed to do in certain situations.
Right.
And we tell our guys all the time, college baseball's 56 games, or, where you're at, it could be 40 at the Division III level. And, our guys don't get paid to hit home runs. It's not incentive based. What our glamour is winning games. And 56 games is like the playoffs, and every game is very, very important. And so if you can situational hit, that's what's going to win you more games than if you can just sit in the box and play for the 3-run homer.
Right. So as you go through a season, you have this plan in the fall, you're executing your plan, you go into 8-hour weeks, that's when you're fine tuning, whatever the case may be. When you get into the spring, how much goes into, obviously everything's kind of performance based, but what do you guys do if someone's struggling, or if they are, if they're really good, if they're, if they're kind of grinding through some ABs and you feel like they're coming out of it, or whatever the case may be. So kind of give us an inside look inside your head of how you manage 18 to 20 hitters on a given day.
Well, and that's where it gets tricky, because you have to find everyone's level. You have to find everyone's zero, how you can get them back to zero, because there's going to be the peaks and valleys of the year. And we tell our guys, if you're, if you're on fire, you're 10 for 12. Well, you have to remember what this is, where you're at, because at some point that's going to go away, and we have to get you back to, not that, but we have to get you back to that even keel, that zero, to make sure that you're more consistent, and your peaks there's more of those than your valleys. And so what we'll do a lot of times, we'll bring kids in, or we'll have a small group, and we'll talk, and we'll try to talk them through what's going on. Because a lot of times it's not the swing, it's maybe some timing stuff. But when you're struggling, it comes more from the mental piece of what we're doing. So we'll do some more of that. It's not like it's not a mental session. It's just more of a talk it out, let those guys talk, be vulnerable in what they're thinking and what they're saying. And then we just interject when we need to, but it's more them talking. The other stuff that we started to do, and again, I don't know if this is, there's any data behind this, but we watch guys take so many swings, so many at bats, and as that season goes, the bat speeds get slower, and and things of that nature. And that's where some struggles come from, whether their timing's off and they try to create their swing to be faster and it's more of a body swing. And so they're in and out of the zone, all those things. What we'll do is we'll have hitters just, hey, you're not hitting today at practice. You need a day. Your hands are slow. You just need a day. And then maybe the next day we do a lot of the weighted bat stuff. And again, it's not data driven. It's just what I feel has maybe worked with those guys to help recruit some of the quick twitch muscles. We'll give them that underload bat as their hand speed and their bodies get tired, especially for that kid who plays 30 games, jumps in, and they're lucky enough to play as a freshman. They're going to hit a wall. And so we try to recruit those quick twitch movements, and we give them that underload bat, which, the drive line bats, you could use a softball bat. And we just try to create maybe some lower impact swings, but it's also recruiting some of the quick twitch back. Again, it's not data driven, but it seems to has worked for some of our guys. So we try to do some of those things. And more than not, when you put that light bat in their hands, they feel really good. And so maybe that changes the mindset a little bit. I'm starting to feel a little bit better. The barrel's coming off a little bit more with this bat. And then you try to, slowly roll it back into the bats. And then, if that's a Wednesday, Thursday deal, then Friday they're ready to roll.
Right. Yeah. So I'm a big proponent of the weighted bats as well. And I think they do so much more than create just bat speed, just raw bat speed. It teaches you so many different things. And I mean, it's no different than anything that people have done throughout the years, I think, which is, when I was in high school, you could use a drop 5 bat, but you would, sometimes take BP with a drop 3 bat, just try to get a feel or speed it up or whatever the case may be.
And I think that gets lost a lot is you try to find the feel of the hitter because we're all different. I tell our 3, 4, 5 hitters all the time that I learn more from them than they probably learned from me because I was a 1, 2, 8, 9 type guy. I was a guy who was trying to hit ground balls in the 4-hole, and I was only getting fastballs because I was no threat to hit the ball out of the park.
Right.
And their at-bats that they have are so much different than any at-bat that I ever had. And so I've learned more from those guys than they've probably learned from me, but it's my job to find the feel of where they need to be or where their mind is, from at bat to at bat. They're the ones who are pitch to pitch because they're in the box.
Yeah, I think that's really good, man. I think because I think it's, we always kind of internalize, or at least I do sometimes, or I've grown out of it, but we internalize like, well, this is what I used to do, or this is how I was taught, or whatever the case may be. And, where you were getting pumped fastballs because your size, I was getting pumped breaking balls, would actually probably helped me a little bit because my bat was slow. And, it was, one of those things that, didn't necessarily produce like a middle of the order type guy, but was treated like one just simply based on size. So I think that's what guys have to understand is, you got to learn how you're being pitched, and you got to adjust to that and, kind of go from there. But it was really good. It was really good, Ben. Hey, give these guys some advice, man. Just moving forward. What should they focus on? I think it's important to kind of get this from another mouth.
Yeah, it's such a tough time. I mean, a lot of guys don't have gyms. Some guys, there's nowhere to hit. Is your facility shut down, or are you guys still rolling? All
facilities are shut down at this point.
Yeah, so you guys are shut down, so it's tough for guys to get some swings in, and it's hard, but you can stay active in what you're doing. I mean, whether it's our strength coach, he sent out body weight workouts to our guys, and there's so much information on Twitter and social media, and some of it you have to decide if that's for you or not, and we all do. And but there is some good exercises and things that you can do at home that can at least keep you active. You're probably not going to set any maxes or set any records lifting weights right now or whatever, but you can still do something to stay active and maybe gives your body a little bit of a break. You know, when we were growing up, there weren't really hitting facilities. I don't know if I ever entered a hitting facility until I started coaching. And I'm, 33 years old, so it's not that long ago, but you just take dry swings. I mean, you do it every day, and you can really feel what you're doing instead of looking for a result of something. I think we all fall into this result-based hit tracks, TrackMan world where sometimes you just need to feel good. Go take swings, and you can do that. If you take 100 swings a day with no ball, you're still going to get better than if you took no swings a day or
Right.
10 swings a day with a ball. So there's always something that can be done. But at the end of the day, this is probably a good time to hang with the family and do those types of things. And
Yeah.
it's,
Being a dad now that, my kid's starting to get into baseball, just
yeah,
playing catch with them has been awesome. And I'm sitting there going, man, I can't imagine if we're in this, same situation when he's 17, if he's like, hey, let's go play catch,
yeah,
what that's got to feel like as a parent. So,
yeah, it's a complete deal. And, we tell our guys, our college guys, like, hey, enjoy this because you're 22 years old. Like I see my parents probably 4, maybe 5 times a year.
yeah,
And so it's different now. It's good with FaceTime and all that stuff, but just you won't see them as much unless you live in the same area or same town. But
yeah.
most people don't as they grow up and get older. So, but yeah,
All right, man. Awesome. Greatly appreciated. And, hope to get to see you this summer a little bit. And,
for sure. Yeah, no kidding.
what's the place? The Fuzzy Pickle, is that what it's called?
Oh, in at Graham Park. What is
Yeah,
that? Yeah, I think it is the Fuzzy Pickle. Who knows? They
something
may
like
have
that.
all sorts of stuff. Every
Yeah,
summer it seems like they have 10
I
new
know.
restaurants.
Yeah, we'll
So
hopefully get to share a meal with you either there or Bub's or something. So,
for sure. For sure.
all
I
right, brother.
appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, thank you, man. Great job.
Yep. Thanks. See ya.
Yeah, see ya.